Coming up, a Sicangu Lakota nurse is honored with an international award. An Ojibwe author tackles tough issues for young readers. And some Super Bowl stories from a Native perspective. I'm Mackenzie Allen Charmley. Join us for the news and much more.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
This is the ICT Newscast with Aaliyah Chavez.
Chenangalite, we're so happy you could join us. We start in Oklahoma, where the construction of 4 multi-million-dollar healthcare facilities has been completed. The Cherokee Nation has finished building $15 million in outpatient healthcare centers as part of the tribe's COVID-19 Respond, Recover, and Rebuild plan. This includes the Three Rivers Health Center in Muskogee, Will Rogers Health Center in Nawada, Kuwiskui Health Center in Achalada, and the Veneta Health Center. The additional services include expansions to radiology and optometry departments, dental services, and more. According to Cherokee citizen and District 12 Councilor Dora Patzowski, the expansion allows health service staff to better serve their patients. Patients and staff will have more space for healthcare equipment and more efficient areas to monitor previous COVID-19 patients. In Canada, an Indigenous artist is launching their very first shoe collection. Big Stone Cree Nation citizen Lance Cardinal's new collection tells stories from First Nation cultures. The artist's footwear is decorated with symbolics and Matisse flowerwork and says everyone loves his creations. This collection comes in many different styles, including slippers, ballet flats, and boots. One of the highlights from the collections includes a boot that honors murdered and missing Indigenous girls and their families. All the proceeds from the honor boot are going to grassroots organizations in Edmonton that support MMIW families. For more information on when and where you can purchase the collection, visit kunitshoes.com. The newest installment to Marvel's Black Panther series includes work from an Indigenous-led company in Seattle, Washington. 8th Generation manufactured many of the blankets found in the movie Wakanda Forever. Black Panther costumer Ruth Carter created each design, which was then manufactured by the blanket maker. But if you were hoping to snag one of these amazing items, bad news, they were made exclusively for Marvel and will not be available for sale. ICT spoke to founder and former CEO Louis Gong, and he said the connection between Wakanda and 8th Generation was undeniable.
When I heard that the blankets could be used in this movie about a person of color kicking butt, and also tethered to this idea of Wakanda, it made perfect sense to me. And for me, it was really the capstone on the proof of concept that if we continuously invest in ourselves, that we can make things that are awesome.
To see more of the craftsmanship that went into the blankets and learn more about the project, visit 8thgeneration.com. Super Bowl referees come from all over the nation. This year, a citizen of the Cherokee Nation is on the field for Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona. Dacoda McDowell-Wahpekeche has this story.
On January 24th, the NFL announced its officiating crew for Super Bowl 57 between the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs. Among the crew was small-town Oklahoman Jared Phillips. ICT was able to acquire a video from him before the big game talking about the opportunity he will have. He said he started his referee career with Little League football in Jay, Oklahoma.
I remember the first game that I ever did, it was raining so hard you couldn't even see the other side of the field, but we continued to play.
He said his officiating career changed in 2009 when he started officiating higher levels of football. Then in 2016 was whenever he got to be with the NFL. He said all of the people who have reached out to him or support him recently has been something very humbling.
It's become really humbling to see the amount of people that not only support you, but the amount of people that are proud of what you're doing. It's receiving a phone call from the chief of the Cherokee Nation saying, hey, the whole nation is proud of you.
The Cherokee Nation is proud of Phillips, saying Cherokee Nation citizens continue to succeed in many different roles and industries across the world, and that Phillips is yet another example of limitless potential and ability that Cherokees possess.
He does it as a Cherokee. He's got these great Cherokee roots, still coaching at Wycliffe School. I mean, it's such a great story, and I think most importantly, young people are really excited about this, young Cherokees, and so that makes me feel good as chief.
According to the Cherokee Nation, Jared Phillips is the first Cherokee citizen to be on the Super Bowl's officiating crew. Reporting in Phoenix, Dacoda McDowell-Wahpekeche, ICT News.
And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. A Sicangu Lakota woman is being honored by Staffing Industry Analysts, global advisor on staffing and workforce solutions. Whittney LaCroix is a visionary who's committed to transforming healthcare for tribal nations. She's worked for Tribal Health on the Pine Ridge and Rosebud Reservations in South Dakota. Let's take a look.
So we are contracted with Indian Health Service and other 638 tribal facilities to help bridge the gap that we see a lot in Indian country. It's hard for them to recruit and retain quality nurses and physicians. So our company offers that bridge. We bring board certified emergency room physicians and experienced emergency room nurses to tribal communities to provide that quality patient care at the bedside.
What is your message to Indigenous people about healthcare as a whole?
I think, the biggest message that I have is just that we have to pay attention because all of us that have either received care at IHS or a tribal facility, we know that there are major gaps in access to care. And that's equal across Indian country. So I think it's something that, as a community, we have to make a priority. It has to be part of our conversation. How are we going to ensure that we are taking ownership of healthcare in our communities and ensuring that, our future generations have access to quality healthcare?
With funding and great distances that some people have to travel to get healthcare on the reservations, I was wondering what kind of solutions are there for those situations?
So I think there's a lot of tribes that do a really good job of offering transportation services. I know I'm from the Rosebud Sioux tribe in Rosebud, South Dakota, and the tribe actually has a transportation program where they hire individuals from the community to go out and get our elders that live in some of the more distant communities to bring them in for primary care. So that's one model that I've seen be really successful in Indian country.
Moving on to the award, could you tell us about it? I understand that you're one of 150 women worldwide to have received this award.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really honored and humbled. And essentially, the award recognizes women in the staffing industry that are innovative and leading the way in our respective career fields.
And did your family influence your choice to become a nurse at all?
Absolutely. So my grandmother and my mother were both nurses, and I have countless aunts and cousins that are also in the healthcare field. But most specifically, I would say that my mother, she was a nurse and very active in our community, and she really pushed me and inspired me to become a registered nurse.
I was wondering if you had any advice for youth that are considering nursing as a career.
Yeah, I would say number one, do it. We need more Indigenous representation in the nursing field. There are always going to be obstacles, and yes, it's really challenging, but we are very resilient people and you can do it. And there are lots of resources out there for you if you are interested in the nursing field. So just, lean into your power and get out there and do it.
I like what you said about Indigenous representation in healthcare. I think about with the time of the pandemic, how crucial Indigenous healthcare workers were with on-the-ground efforts, things like that. I was hoping you could touch more on how being Indigenous in these communities can really be a superpower.
Yeah, it is a superpower because we understand the needs that our population has. Our people, obviously we talk about culturally sensitive care. And I think what happens a lot of times when we have people who aren't from our community coming in and providing care, it can create some tension or maybe some misunderstanding. So the more representation we have from Indigenous healthcare providers, I think the better the care, the quality of care is at the bedside, because we do have unique needs as people, culturally, and we don't think necessarily the same way, I would say, that non-natives do when it comes to health. We think of health as being something that's like whole, it's spiritual, it's mental, it's physical. So when we have more people from our community providing that care, I think that the quality obviously will be very much improved.
And throughout your experience within healthcare, I wanted to know if there was anything unique about why you love what you do. Is there like a particular reason why you continue to advocate in this way?
Yeah, so I think when I went to nursing school, I worked for a big healthcare system for a year before I went back home to serve on the reservation. And I think there was a very stark difference from the care that was being provided in these other communities compared to what I found when I moved home. And in 2015, our emergency department in Rosebud was placed on diversion because we had so many issues with quality care and accreditation issues with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. So leadership at that time chose to divert our emergency department. And what ended up happening is, we had individuals in our communities that lost their lives because they didn't have access to emergency services. And I was a staff nurse in Rosebud at that time. And I think that's the one thing in my career that has really been transformative for me and really pushed me to advocate for better healthcare in our communities as a result of that. So, I think I've had the opportunity during my time working on the Rosebud Reservation to have lots of wonderful experiences, but I think that it's still really at the forefront that we have to prioritize quality healthcare, and it's an everyday battle, but I'm very much dedicated to that.
That was Whittney LaCroix. The Super Bowl fans have left Phoenix, but there are reminders of the event that will last for years. One is a mural project downtown. Dacoda McDowell-Wahpekeche has more.
February 7th, a Tuesday morning, brought a sense of relief and happiness as Lucinda Hinojos and her team finished a large mural on the side of the Monarch Theater in downtown Phoenix. She is the first Chicana Native American artist to work with the NFL on its theme art.
Anything is possible because I grew up, seeing blonde hair, blue eyes on walls and on TV. But now we are here in this space, paving the way for the future generation.
Now, there are many parts about this mural that she's appreciated, but one big thing that has made her smile was the opportunity to work with her son, Nathaniel.
Yeah, it's been emotional because it's like a proud moment. Like I love my kids and they've been through everything with me, so to have them by my side, it's awesome.
He said that this opportunity didn't happen overnight for his mom and that she worked very hard for some time.
10 years took it because we started from the bottom, and now she's all the way big, and that took her 10 years for that. And now she's doing the NFL ticket.
Finally, she hopes this opportunity of having Indigenous influence on one of the biggest games in the world inspires younger generations.
They too can do this too, and don't ever, let anybody say different or box us in, which they typically do with us Native and Brown people, right? They want to box us in and know that this is a box that's been opened and we're paving the ways for these younger generations to come in and, do what they want to do, what is within their heart and their spirit to do.
The mural can be seen on the Monarch Theater building located at 122 East Washington Avenue. In Phoenix, Dacoda McDowell-Wahpekeche, ICT News.
A Caldecott Medal winner has a new book for children. Carole Lindstrom writes about important issues facing Indigenous people from a child's perspective. We Are Water Protectors and her new book, My Powerful Hair, take on social and political issues facing Native people today. Let's take a look.
The book actually was inspired by a photograph that I saw long ago when I was a child, like probably 10 maybe or so. My mom had a photo on the television set that was of my grandmother and my two great aunts, the three of them together. And in the photo, their hair is really, shaved, shorn, short, and they're wearing identical like white smocks. And I just remember being struck by that photo and asking my mother, what was that? Why was grandma and my great aunts, why were they doing that? And my mother, at the time, I was probably I was born in the 60s. So it was in the early 70s, late 60s. So my mom didn't really know much about our history and the Indian boarding schools. But that's where the photo was from when my grandmother was in my great aunts were in Indian boarding school and taken away from the family, and their hair was cut short. And my mother always said that grandma had really long, beautiful, dark hair. And, they were told they had lice, which I'm sure wasn't the truth now that I'm older and I understand more about the boarding school era and stuff. So that really, struck me that a lot of folks don't know about the Indian boarding schools and just the repercussions and the intergenerational trauma that many of us still deal with today. So I thought that I felt like it needed a book. So I felt that and I like to write for young people. I like to make stories accessible to young people because I really, with We Are Water Protectors, I really saw how young people get it. They understand so much more than adults do about such, really simple things. And so I like to start with writing for them.
The illustrations for your books are really great. Could you tell us how you came up with the designs and the illustrators?
Well, okay, so yes, the illustrator, Steph Little Bird, is so amazing. She's just so talented. So that is something that I and the author typically does not have control of, which, and rightly so, because it's often in the business of publishing when there's a picture book, the author illustrator don't talk. It's just not done because of that reason. The publisher doesn't want the author to influence the illustrator's designs and their interpretation of the words on the manuscript. And I believe that 100%, that it's not my job to do. But in a case of a story like, My Powerful Hair, which is really influenced by me and my ancestry, which is Ojibwe and Métis, and Steph Little Bird, who is not from the same tribe that I am. It was very important that we spoke beforehand, and the publisher knew that. And in fact, that's something that I always make sure it's part of my contract. Not to mention that I always want to and will work with Native illustrators, but it's important that we talk and work together because I need to share links. There needs to be there's over 574, federally recognized tribes, and over 1,000 tribes that are not federally recognized, and we're all different.
And what inspires you to write children's books?
Well, that's a good question. Really, I think it's because of the lack of representation I saw of myself when I was a child in books. Again, I know I show my age, but growing up when I did, we didn't have all these different genres of children's books, picture books, middle grade, young adults, and so forth. It was just, you had this juvenile fiction and then you went straight to adult. So for me, I never saw myself in books, but if I did see myself in books, it was usually in a negative way. Little House on the Prairie always comes to mind because I loved that series because my home life wasn't always the best. So it was books really were my escape, and I love books and libraries so much because of that. But Little House on the Prairie, I saw this family unit that everybody got along and everybody was kind and caring. But then when they spoke of my ancestors and me and my people and as a wild Indian and a savage, I just couldn't understand why. I thought, well, that's not who my mother is, and that's not who my aunts and uncles or my grandma, or I don't know who those people are they're speaking of. So I really was torn as a child about books, and I never saw myself. And also, children who are not Indigenous and Native, they don't see us. It's important for books, of course, to be windows and mirrors so we can see ourselves. But so other children who aren't around, say, a Native population or what have you, can see us as well and know that we're still part of the world and, making contributions every day. I think that's the thing that I found so much, in my many years on this planet is people think that we're not here, we're gone, from the whole the continent, and we're still here. We're all around you. And so that's another reason why I like to write for young people. I want them to see themselves and know that they're so important, that, one person can make such a big difference in the world. It doesn't matter, where you are, who you come from, where you come from. It's just a matter of, like when I wrote my first water protectors, it was just a book about a young girl who wanted to do something. She felt helpless and she didn't know what to do. She couldn't do much, but she did do something. She brought her community together. And I think that young people, they want to feel empowered. And I think these kind of books can do that for them. So,
you mentioned the importance of Indigenous representation. What advice do you have for aspiring writers?
Oh, please keep writing. Your stories are so important. They're so needed. We cannot have enough. Please, please, please. There are so many stories out there in the world that have been written since whenever we've had libraries, right? How many books have we had about tooth fairies or rabbits and bunnies and whatever, right? There's room for your stories. There's room. There's room. We need your stories. Nothing, your one voice, your one story matters. Please write. Please don't stop. And don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't, because that has been told to me all throughout my life. You can't do it. You won't do it. Pie in the sky kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Pie in the sky does happen. You just have to believe in yourself. Sometimes even when you feel that no one believes in you, okay? You believe in yourself and know that I always believe in you. Always believe in yourself.
That was author Carole Lindstrom. Well, that's the ticket. The Gila River Indian community had a drawing for a coveted ticket to the Super Bowl. ICT's Dacoda McDowell-Wahpekeche has more.
It's just a great opportunity, right, to bring our tribal community nations, into this amazing week of activities and onto the Super Bowl.
Gila River Indian Community was among 3 other tribes involved in the Super Bowl host committee for Super Bowl 57. Because of this opportunity, they found a way to benefit their people. Tribal members tuned into the tribe's Facebook page on February 8th to see if they were lucky enough to win one of the tribe's Super Bowl tickets.
I know our community members are going to be so excited to potentially have an opportunity to attend the Super Bowl.
Rebecca Moffett was one of the lucky raffle winners who went to the game representing the Indian community. Here was her reaction to winning.
And let's give it up for Rebecca Moffett.
I won!
Rebecca,
I won!
how about it?
She took her son and was happy to be able to go because of the affordability.
For one, the tribe paid for our parking. They also paid for our VIP passes, so I didn't even have to buy food. I didn't have to buy drink. They just had all the food out, and we're like something we're not used to. Like, where do we pay? Like this just can't be free. You never expect anything to be free like that at such a big event.
The tickets are great and fun for the tribal members, and Governor Stephen Rowe Lewis says the partnership has catapulted the tribe into global spotlight.
From what I heard early on, NFL has always been, so impressed with how a tribal nation such as the Gila River Indian community can coordinate with them and oversee, an event such as that, for the whole week.
Gila River's streak of hosting the Super Bowl champs stops after the Philadelphia Eagles lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 38-35. Reporting in Phoenix, Dacoda McDowell-Wahpekeche, ICT News.
One of Canada's most respected drum groups is collaborating with an unlikely partner. Sultans of String approached the Northern Cree drum group about producing an album together. It's scheduled to be released this fall. Here's a preview. And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.